Hello guys, and it's me again being absolute weirdo. But what we're doing today is something that I kind of want to do ever since I wanted to start YouTube. It is doing fan fiction review, I guess. I don't know. Basically, is me going through and looking at my favorite fan fictions I've read over the course of like 4 or 5 years and reviewing it and seeing how good it is now compared to when it was then. Hopefully this video does not turn out to be very weird and slow and boring and awkward and all that stuff. The one we're doing today it didn't start my fan fiction reading days, but it is one of my favorite ones, at least when I was younger, I remember. And it's called, okay, don't even come for me for this name. Like, I didn't make this book, I just read it. It's called The Mermaid and the Alpha. And if you've been on Wattpad, you know what that means. It's a werewolf book, okay? You know what it means. It's just about a mermaid girl and her falling in love with a werewolf. And don't even come for me for that. I know it sounds stupid and weird. And it is, to some extent, but like, it's not that bad. And it's made by _Aussie_, I think that's how you say your name. And like, I remember it being pretty good. So the premise of the book is Assyria is a mermaid with the long weird name, the daughter of one of the ocean's most powerful mer leaders, and sisters to a bunch of overprotective brothers. She's also the mate to Cameron Forrest, the future alpha of the Blood Moon Pack. That's like just a snippet. That's just a tiny, that's just the first couple sentences. But I loved it when I was younger, so
let's dive on in.
I'm not gonna really read the story as much as I'm just gonna like go through and explain like the certain chapters, because I have no idea how this is gonna come out, and it just might just be something I'm trying out. I don't know. Okay, but anyways, chapter 1 is basically just her explaining her childhood, how she found out that she and her family were mermaids. And then like they're talking about their moving. They always move and stuff like that. She introduces all her brothers, and I'm not gonna really name all her brother's name because I'm lazy. And they go for a swim. That's basically the entire first chapter. It's really quite underwhelming, the first chapter. Then second chapter, the story, like her and her brothers are trained assassins to some extent. They're basically homeschooled, but their dad's like, oh no, you had to go to this new high school, but be careful because there's werewolves and they can't know about us, because everybody thinks in this world that only werewolves and vampires exist. They don't think about other magical creatures. And she's like 17, all her brothers are like 20 or something. And so like they're like, okay, who's gonna go to school with her, so to make sure that she doesn't, die. And like she meets Cameron, her mate. He knows it's her, but she has 2 brothers and they're like being brothers. That's the whole 4th chapter. They meet him, and then the brother beat him up basically because they're like, oh, you can't date our sister, like, God. And then if it can load, because it won't load, I'm gonna just try to see if I can do it from memory because it won't load for some reason. But basically after that happens, he discovers she's a mermaid, or that she's something that is not a werewolf or a vampire. And then she's like, oh wow, it took you long enough, you dumb person. They start dating. The whole reason why I like the story, I liked werewolf when I was a kid. That is just who I was as a 13-year-old girl, 14-year-old girl. I'm 18 now and I still love it, so I don't know. Did I really grow up? Not really. But back to the story. I'm going to skip to like chapter 9. Basically, it's a whole mean girl plot that the mean girl like wanted the guy, and obviously she's not gonna get him because he doesn't want her, and she wants to do, so she's like, that whole mean girl plot thing that you'll see a lot in fan fiction. I like the story. Like, I really like reading it is interesting. Is it good? Depends on who you are and what you want in your fan fiction. There is good things on Wattpad. You just have to sort through all the trash. It's just so hard. But back to what I'm talking about The Mermaid and the Alpha. It's a lot of filler because honestly, if you ask me personally, the plot doesn't kick in that well. They get together really early in the story, but then there's a part where like he doesn't know she's a mermaid, and so so she's like dropping clues. And then there's a part later on in the story where like she has an ex. This is like way later into the story, and he comes back. Cameron and her ex are fighting because he's like, the ex wants her back, and she's like, screw you, No. And it's just really weirdly plotted out. And then, like I said, it's just like weird plot things they put in the story. It's an interesting read. If you're like 13 and you're watching this and you have the interest of mermaids, like if you want to check it out, definitely check it out. It's a good book to some extent. It's just there needs to be editing, and she's never edited it like since then, as far as I know, because I've never gotten an update. Is it fan fiction? No, it's not fan fiction. Is it good on a scale of 1 to 10? I'd say probably like a 5, like a 6.3 on my rating. It's not bad. It's just not the best book, but it's not that good plot wise. Character wise, it's not that. Didn't have a lot of character development in it either. Who would like it on a scale to like 12-year-olds who like anything that they have their interests, to me being 18-year-old and older people? I would say like it probably falls within, like, you'll probably lose interest in it. For everybody who's not me, probably around like the age 15 possibly. Like when you're 15, you'll probably not like this book anymore. But who knows, you might be 21 and love this book. So this was a weird video. This is something I want to do, and it's right now it doesn't have a name or anything. It's just what I'm calling it for argument's sake is like fixing fan fiction, like where I go back and I read all the fan fiction that I liked when I was younger and like reviewing it now. This video is gonna be all over the place. Hopefully whenever I make another one, it will have points as of why the book's good or bad, because this was kind of random. So if you like the video and you want to see more, smash the like button, I guess, because that's what all the YouTubers say. And until next time, adios.